Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, the lovely Leah and Michelle. Today is the 1st of September, 2019. I can't believe it's September
Time for our
already.
commercial break. Here is the world's most used
not
child.
Ingrid again.
Here's the thing. Her name is Greta, but that's
Greta,
okay.
Ingrid, whatever. She's Swedish. She could have any one of those names.
She's Norwegian.
Okay. Sorry. This is how much I care about this climate change nutbag.
Okay.
Who's brainwashed by her parents.
The reason I am playing this little thing that's had 1 million views is because
Greta Thunberg.
She's
got her own shirt now.
Came over to the United States to talk about climate change. Now, here's the thing. She doesn't know anything about climate change. She's not a scientist.
She's a walking zombie tape recorder.
She is being used.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to look. She has Asperger's. She has been scared since she's a child. Like, seriously, it's as if
Did you say that, or did somebody else say that?
She has Asperger's.
Does she really?
You know nothing about this child.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I can't stand her. I literally try to ignore all things about her. I'm not kidding.
She has Asperger's.
Okay. I'm going to try and remember that one.
Since she was, for the past several years, her parents have been brainwashing her with fear. And it's as if let's pretend her parents were like Christian fundamentalists who said that Jesus was going to come back.
Right.
And she was paraded around television saying, Jesus is coming back.
Everybody would say it was her parents telling her this stuff.
And we just know that in 15 years, we're all going to be dead and blah, 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 blah. Children don't know these things. She's not a scientist. She didn't study these things. So somebody had to tell her this.
Exactly.
And so she refused to eat. She wouldn't go to school. And her climate protests and her parents encouraged all of this.
Unbelievable.
And so she's not, she's a poster child. And what they're doing to this child is wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. But I want you to see how she reacts here. And just to know that this is wrong how they treat this child.
Wait. Don't press play yet. I had this on, and then it died.
Okay. Well, you don't really hear exactly what she's saying.
Well, because is she speaking in Norwegian?
No, she speaks English.
They all do over there. You had a friend, a couple of friends in college. They all speak really, really good English.
So, let's not wait any longer. Let's do it now. Yes.
I just want you to know that this is not right to treat a child like this.
Yeah. What you were trying to point out is all of the...
Her tics and uncomfortableness.
Yeah. She does not look comfortable being paraded out.
It's
and
wrong.
I don't think she really has a choice.
It's wrong.
Wow.
All right, so we're going to go to Hong Kong, where police are really cracking down this weekend. I finished this interview that Michelle can hopefully put in the description.
This. They're thinking you're about to play PJW.
This interview between, maybe bring it up so I can get the guy's name. Miles Kwok. Miles Kwok is an ex-Chinese billionaire, and the last part is the most important part of this whole interview, where he talks about how the Chinese government. Now, why is this? This is all important because it plays straight into Hong Kong and what's going on. If you bring it up so they can just see it, we're talking about.
So speaking of Greta, Britt Baza reminds me of when we did cover this, her coming to the United States on her little eco-friendly boat. But then the pilots of the boats had to actually fly back, so it didn't actually save any fuel.
Exactly.
Like it would have normally.
No, it didn't save any.
So, and after so I know that some of you guys did watch this interview after we covered it on Friday. If you wait till the end, then the guy does an interview with Steve Bannon afterwards, which was really, really informative.
So you have Miles Kwok here, who is an ex-Chinese billionaire, and he basically spells out how the Chinese economy is collapsing. And before Trump's tariffs, they were already collapsing.
This one right
here. It was already collapsing. I guess so, yeah. The man that China fears the most
Oh, hang on,
Now,
let me switch. That's us. You're watching us twice. Yeah, hang on. Let me switch this over.
I wanted you just to kind of see him sitting in the chair so they get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And Miles
Crying out loud.
Quap, he basically, let me lay it down like this. The United States prints a bunch of money. We're in
Do we
a ton
need
of debt.
PJW right between our faces?
No.
I'm sorry.
Do you have? No, I want you to bring up the video so people can see.
It's going to be right there. But do you want me to play? If I
Play
play
it for a second. I want them to see
then
him
stop,
sitting in the chair.
Then stop talking.
Okay, I didn't want you just to show them the history.
Grammarly does.
Well, I'm not going to bring up a video because then it starts playing and then they can't hear you talking
Skip
while
ads.
it's playing.
Okay, just bring it to them. Just put it to the middle so they can see this Miles clock. Okay.
It's muted now. You can talk. They can just literally watch his hand motions.
No, just stop it. It'll be discombobulating.
Okay.
So there's Miles Clock. All right, and watch his interview, especially at the end. So we in America, our government has done this really great thing, and they print all this fake money, and they've got us $20 trillion in debt.
Right.
Well, he's got charts in here that show that China just print the paper money, just print the. Like they put us to shame. I don't know the exact numbers, but basically 5 times at least the amount we do. And he said that in China, you want $1 million loan and you're a businessman? You want $1 billion loan? You want a businessman? You can go to these middlemen and they'll ask for 20%. Sometimes they'll ask for 35%. So they're getting $750 million on these $1 billion loans that they negotiate with no collateral, no nothing. They just get you this fake Chinese dollar. Now, the Chinese dollar, whatever they call it, yuan, cannot be traded on the international scene. But Hong Kong's monetary system is internationally tradable. So China uses Hong Kong to launder all of this fake printed money. China is more in debt to themselves. They've made up, it's all the printed money. It's all the fake. It's all fake. It's all fake. And he said, if you rise up in the ranks in this quasi system that they have set up between kind of capitalism, but mostly just totalitarianism, and you become a billionaire. I don't know any of these people that you talked about, but
they said their names
put
like
them in jail.
Everyone knows.
They either go to jail. They're famous billionaires. You either go to jail or you get killed. He said that's it. You go to jail or kill. He said dead or jail, kill or jail. And he believes that there will be a revolution in the next 3 years in China against the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party.
You said that this interview was like 3 months old, which, I mean, obviously, I think that what was going on in Hong Kong still was starting to happen 3 months ago.
Well, you can look at it. I don't know exactly. The date should be on it, not the upload date, but in the description it'll say when it came out.
October 5th,
2008.
2018. So what I'm saying is, him saying that, I think that what's happening in Hong Kong right now is a realization of that.
Exactly. He mentioned Hong Kong and what was happening in Hong Kong
before it was
last
happening.
year.
Right.
This guy is a prophet. I'm not even kidding you. And so I think that it's timely that this came out just now. Okay. So we're standing in solidarity with the people in Hong Kong who wish for their freedoms. And let me go into now the Hong Kong protests.
Live rounds fired. That was my leisurely Sunday afternoon in Hong Kong. While the protesters out on the streets, they have 5 demands. 1, the full withdrawal of a bill that would allow suspects in Hong Kong to be extradited to China. 2, an inquiry into allegations of police brutality. 3, amnesty for the arrested protesters. 4, universal suffrage to allow 100% of the city's executive council, which is dominated by Beijing, to be voted in by the people of Hong Kong. The fifth demand is that authorities stop referring to the demonstrations as riots. The Hong Kong government has said over and over again that it won't accept any of the 5 demands, so the violence will only escalate. We talked to several people who said that the Chinese government is using mass migration to subsume Hong Kong's identity and weaken its unity. Does that remind you of anything?
Ich auch. Ist doch hübsch. Enjoy difference, start tolerance.
Despite dressing similar, the Hong Kong protesters are very different from America's snarling, spitting, obnoxious Antifa thugs. Whereas Antifa attacks the media and refuses to be filmed, the Hong Kong protesters go out of their way to protect the media and prevent journalists from being harmed. On Friday night, there was a vigil attended by thousands of participants. This preceded the monumental human chain, where protesters linked arms for 30 miles around the entire city. They even climbed up mountains. China has thousands of troops massing in nearby Shenzhen. Will they be sent into Hong Kong to enact a brutal, bloody crackdown? If Hong Kong is still in turmoil, on October 1st, the 70th anniversary of the founding of Communist China, that will be the biggest embarrassment imaginable for Beijing. So they have to do something. And this is China we're talking about. Tiananmen Square was only 30 years ago. What that something will be remains to be seen.
30-mile human chain. I had not heard of that. Wow. Raise your hand if you heard about that.
Do you know how many people you need to create a 30-mile human chain?
If there was a 30-mile human chain anywhere around the world, why didn't I hear about this till just now? I obviously watched Paul Justin's video, but I didn't watch it to the very end. 30-mile human chain.
Wow.
And nothing in my local newspaper, basically. My local Cincinnati Enquirer does world news as well.
Not as well as we do.
It has a little thing on Hong Kong, and as far as Brexit, the only thing about Brexit is protesters rip Brexit scheme by Johnson. So if you know how to write a title, that would mean I hate you. I don't like you and I disagree with you. So not exactly neutral grounds there, right?
Right.
Police smashed their way into subway, beating unarmed protesters. From Katie Hopkins, these brave souls are fighting for freedom. The Chinese government is determined to take away.
係太子站車廂入邊，咁有速龍小隊嘅人呢，就係向住一批人呢，就發射催淚氣體，催淚水劑。咁啊，情況有啲混亂啊！咁啊，有頭先啊見到咧喺有警察啦揮動警棍，咁啊有市民啦情緒激動。我哋未知道現場係發生咩事啊！咁不過咧，情況相當混亂。
And the only thing that these people have as weapons are their umbrellas. And that's why that guy's getting so angry with his umbrella. Can you imagine feeling so helpless that you have nothing against these police officers?
見過咧，有警察咧就喺車廂入邊係揮動警棍，同埋咧係向喺地下嘅人咧，就係向住地下嘅人咧，就係發射咗呢個催淚水劑咁。咁啊，而有警察咧，亦都喺站月台咧，就係制服咗部分人。
When are the Hong Kong police going to stand down?
That's a very good question, because you know these people have to live with these people. They have to be neighbors. You know? Wow.
So what somebody had said was that it's mostly young people who are doing this. And they have tasted freedom. They tasted, they unlike other, their Chinese mainland counterparts, they travel freely. They make a very good wage, just like you and I would if we lived in Hong Kong. And they're world travelers. And their parents are supporting them because they worked hard to give them this life, and they see it being taken away.
Right.
So I'm gonna get to this stupid.
It's really heartbreaking.
Here we have a water cannon spraying blue dye on the crowds so that they can arrest anybody who has blue dye on them later. As Patriot Gallery said, looks like you're going to have to wear 3 layers of clothes. You know what? I'm just going to make a joke here. Umbrella sales, if you're in the umbrella business, you are making record sales.
Because it is the only, like I said, it's the only weapon that they have, but now it's, going to protect them from the blue dye. I mean...
Yeah.
This and I want to reiterate for anyone that does not know what's going on in Hong Kong, these protesters are peaceful. They're protesting.
They do not want to be. Here's the thing.
They're not rioting. They're not rioting.
This is their moment. In a short number of years, I think it's like 2046, I believe. Hong Kong will not be 2 systems, 1 country. Right. It'll just be Chinese communists, and they want out before that happens. And they've been waiting for their moment.
Everybody in the world understands that communist China is the biggest human rights violator in the entire world. Everybody knows if you go to China and you look at somebody the wrong way, you may never come home. Mm-hmm. Okay? I mean, they have literal slave labor. They have millions of Muslims in camps where they force them to drink and eat pork and all kinds of crazy stuff. They harvest organs, and yet somehow we still have some people going, these Hong Kong people should just stand down. This is so wrong what they're doing. How dare they stand up against a communist human rights violator that does pretty much everything wrong in the entire world? And you know why those people are upset? Because they still want their cheap products from China. Yeah. They want China to rule because you want your cheap iPhone and your cheap Mac and your cheap whatever, everything that's made in China.
I said...
That's why you don't want Hong Kong to get their freedom.
I don't want to hear any more talk about reparations for Black Americans. We fought a civil war 150 years ago and people died. A bloody death, okay? People died. People put their lives on the line to end slavery, and we've been paying reparations in the form of stupid welfare benefits for the past 75 years. But beyond that, the biggest hypocrites in the entire world are people who say they want reparations for something that didn't happen to them, or to their parents, or to their grandparents.
From people who didn't do it.
From people who didn't do anything. While at the same time turning a blind eye to real slavery, real totalitarianism, real fascism.
Right.
That is happening right now in China, and you're benefiting every single day. You have more stuff in your house because people in China are under a totalitarian regime. That's called slavery,
so
and that's wrong.
We had shared this on our Resistance Chicks Facebook page, which if you're not following, you should be. And we were talking about the injustices of what's happening in Hong Kong. And we had this comment from one of our, we have like these top fans and people that love to follow us and comment negatively. I'm like, well, at least you're following us. Mm-hmm. But Mike Moore says, tell that to the Native Americans at Standing Rock. I said, Mike Moore, I'm curious why you would shift focus from an injustice happening right now that needs addressing for people who are currently being oppressed and it needs worldwide awareness to an injustice that happened in the past. If you were to get a chance to talk to one of these people from Hong Kong, would you ignore their plight and just tell them that they should be more concerned with the Native Americans at Standing Rock? You're like, you had your arm chopped off. Who cares? Let me tell you about my grandpa who was murdered. That's what you should really be focused on. Suck it up. I said, seriously? You need help. He comes back and he says, I'd be happy to explain it to you because when Americans in America were facing the same official oppression, there was no outrage. Suck it up. LOL. Talk about righteous hypocrites. Seriously?
They can't see.
How can you take what is happening currently and take away from that. My explanation is exactly plausible. It's like somebody just had their arm chopped off and you're like, well, suck it up. Let me tell you about my grandpa that was murdered. That doesn't matter. He was murdered. He lost his life. Well, let's focus on that.
I know that he was talking about, in all fairness, Standing Rock was a big thing to stop the pipeline.
Why on earth?
To stop the pipeline currently. A gas pipeline going through.
Okay, I thought he was talking. You're right. That's exactly what he's talking about. But either way, this is not the first time I've received comments about what has happened to Native Americans, which was an injustice here in the United States, and we can talk about that all day long.
But here's the thing.
Shift focus
Michelle,
from what's happening right now.
It makes it even worse. A gas pipeline,
right,
going underground
versus a communist regime that wants to extradite
and take your organs. It actually makes it even worse.
Yeah. You're right.
Because we're not even talking about massacre. We're not talking about death. We're not talking about even taking your land. We're talking about a stupid gas pipeline, and there's millions of them all over the country anyways right now. Nobody cares. Praying. Because prayer is what's going to really turn this ship.
Yeah, let's turn this ship around. Remember, guys, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. We want you to please comment. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you have to say. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever's going on in your life, leave the comment. It's not only do we want to hear from you, which we do, and we do read every comment, but the comments help the algorithms, I think, the more comments. So even if you left a ton of comments in the chat, go ahead and leave the things that you put in the live chat. Leave them. They're pertinent. Leave them after the show. So thank you guys for being with us.
Especially on the UK bathroom. Set us straight.
Set us straight. That's right. We love you. God loves you. And God bless.
I was cold.